The regular season has officially come to an end, and actually, well, the entire season has come to an end for the Minnesota Vikings after that loss against the Detroit Lions. 30-20 didn't look great. It was not a great season to look back on, but it was one of those seasons where you look at and you go, hey, there's some changes that need to be made. We need to focus on certain positions. One of those positions being the quarterback spot, right? Kirk Cousins on his final year of his contract. Do we re-sign him? Do we draft a young guy? Do we sign him and draft a young guy and let the young guy learn behind him? Or do we just totally ignore it and kind of move forward and fix other pieces on our team? Well, today we're going to talk about the quarterback situation, what we might potentially do, and that is with Kirk Cousins, right? The question going into this offseason was, are we going to sign or re-sign Kirk Cousins? I know he's going to be expensive and all this mumbo jumbo and stuff like that, but that might not be the case. Kirk Cousins said that he's open-minded to a contract that really doesn't involve a whole lot of money. He understands that he's getting up there in age, and the Achilles injury didn't help his case at all going into a contract year and stuff like that. So he's open to taking less money to stay with the Minnesota Vikings. And I got to be the first to tell you, hey, I'd be A-okay with that as long as we draft a young guy to learn behind Kirk Cousins for at least 1 year, potentially 2 years, pending on which direction we decide to go. He said, look, structure is more important than money to me at this point, and I bet for this organization as well. So we're going to dive into this exactly, or get exactly what Kirk Cousins said about the situation, about his contract coming up and what the Vikings might do and stuff like that. Before we do it, make sure to subscribe to the channel for endless amounts of Vikings updates, news, rumors. You get it. We do all things Vikings on this channel. So what's the current situation with Kirk Cousins? Well, Minnesota Vikings veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins is taking a different approach to free agency than most players, as he isn't exactly seeking the biggest payday possible. Per ESPN's Kevin Seifert, Cousins said Monday that he feels structure is probably more important as he decides his next move. Everything that isn't the dollars, okay, that stuff you also work through. That's what Cousins is talking about. Not about the money side. What does the team look like? What does the team need moving forward into the future? What are we trying to, what's the ultimate goal here? Well, that would be to win a Lombardi, and Kirk Cousins could be a part of that, right? He was on an absolute tear, a career year before he tore his Achilles injury earlier this season. So he's looking at that type of, or those aspects rather than the money. But I mean, he's focused on both, but he's looking at those aspects as well. Now, Seifert noted that Cousins has made it clear that he hopes to re-sign with the Minnesota Vikings, and the team's decision makers are warm to the idea. Cousins explained how his current mindset differs from when he was younger. Now, I'd say, a lot of the people in the organization are probably warm to that idea, especially after watching Kirk Cousins ball out and then having to deal with 3 different backups that really couldn't throw a ball. All right, didn't make reads, looked terrible. It was subpar quarterback play, to say the least. But here's what Cousins had to say about what his current mindset differs from his younger days. He said, I had a coach who I was with who was a younger coach at the time. This was back 8-9 years ago, okay, before my first franchise tag. And we were talking about the situation, and he made a great comment. He said, Kirk, it's not about the dollars, but it is about what the dollars represent. I thought that was an interesting comment that he made. There will always be some of that. If you don't remember, Tom Brady just a couple years ago in New England decided to take a pay cut so that they could sign more players, get him more weapons, and kind of go from there. Now, I think it ended up in getting a Super Bowl ring and then an early exit in the playoffs. But sometimes, look, it's not about the money. It's, what the dollars say or represent, okay? Now, the 36-year-old's current contract paid him an average of $35 million, which ranked 15th among quarterbacks in 2023. Now, the contract will automatically void in March. That's when free agency starts to kick up. And Cousins has a clause that prevents him from being franchise tagged, which is very smart. You don't expect a quarterback or any player at his age to get franchise tagged. I think that would just be it would just be dumb. Right? Now, Cousins is coming off a lost season in which he suffered a ruptured Achilles in Week 8. At the time of the injury, he was leading the NFL with 18 touchdowns and ranked second with 2,331 passing yards, which I believe was only behind Tua Tagovailoa at the time. Now, he said he's not worried about how the injury will impact his impending free agency. He said, "I'm not going to try to sell myself, if you will. I kind of like to let people make their own decisions because I do think the league needs quarterbacks. And if you're trying to talk yourself out of a quarterback, then I can't help you much. The Achilles is going to heal. Okay, get over it. It's going to heal. Yeah, I could play a little bit different, but guess what? I'm a quarterback. I'm a top-tier quarterback. I'm a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. And if you look at what I was doing before that Achilles or that ruptured Achilles happened, I was on pace to probably be the best quarterback in the National Football League. That's what you have to look at. What do you do on the field? A lot of this game is, what have you done for me lately? Well, other than the ruptured Achilles, Kirk Cousins this season was a superstar quarterback. That is exactly what it looked like the entire year. So after seeing that subpar backup quarterback play after Cousins went down, it made me believe, and I think it made a lot of you fans believe that, hey, Kirk Cousins might be the guy. We have to find a way to sign him. I think it's very clear that we sign him because it would be smart. If we don't sign him, let him walk. Who are we going to roll with? Some of you guys are going to say, we're going to draft a rookie quarterback. Okay, how often does that work out in their first year? Not many times. Peyton Manning threw a league-leading interceptions when he's a rookie. C.J. Stroud, who is an absolute phenom, a stud, a dog, if you will, has balled out this season. That doesn't happen very often. We see what Bryce Young did in Carolina. Now, granted, that organization is a complete sham. I don't know what's going on over there. It's terrible. But rookie quarterbacks really never tend to work out that great, at least in their first year. It takes them a couple years. Patrick Mahomes said in his second year, he was still learning how to read defenses. So the smart decision for this organization, if we are truly looking for a franchise quarterback, you re-sign Kirk Cousins to a 1-year deal or to a 2-year deal. 2 years, $60 million, $34.5 fully guaranteed. And you draft a quarterback. You have pick 11. If you can move up, great. If you can't, take whoever's available at number 11, whether that's Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, whoever it is. If you think they're NFL ready, if you think they can make a statement, make a change, or be a change in this organization, sign them. Let him sit. Let them sit under Kirk Cousins for a year, 2 years, under the Kevin O'Connell scheme, offense. Let him learn, like Patrick Mahomes had to do with Alex Smith, then put him on the field. I bet you he's going to be way better than if we were going to let him go out to the dogs his first year. The smart decision for the Minnesota Vikings is to re-sign Kirk Cousins for 1 or 2 years, draft a rookie quarterback to learn behind him. That's my thing. That's my opinion. You guys can let me know your thoughts on what the Vikings should do with Kirk Cousins. Do we move on, just close the door on that chapter, or do we open it up, say, hey, come on back for a year or two? Can you mold, teach this young franchise quarterback that we draft, or if we will draft, and kind of go from there? Okay, that's what the Vikings need to do. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much, much appreciated. Have a great rest of the night, folks, and Skol Vikes.